Untold Truth every Friday at 6 p.m. The journey has just begun with Master Eric. Zalisa. A new kind of podcast getting to the root of hidden knowledge. You can join us on Facebook, Conversation with the Zalisa, and YouTube, Master Eric. Your journey has just begun.
Welcome to another edition of the program, The Untold Truths, broadcasting from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to wherever you may be. Thank you kindly for choosing us. I am Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani.
And I'm Master Eric. And we want to apologize for the 2.5 minute delay. It just happened that the local internet just wanted to drop right before the program. So we had to make sure the internet came back up.
But we're up and we're running, and before we start things off, I want to remind you, we always encourage you, we want you to be part of this program. It's about informing you, it's about educating you, it's about empowering you so that you will have a greater understanding of the topics and about life and helping you to make better decisions as well. So, I trust you have your pen and paper ready. Please feel free. 354-4459. That's 354-4459. That's Master Eric's number. And of course, any questions you may have, please send them. We'll be more than happy to answer them. You can also get me at 384-7142. That's 384-7142.
And before we start, we want to say Sitaram, Assalamu Alaikum, Sairam, and good evening, everyone. Zalisa, we had a pretty interesting topic this morning on your show.
We certainly did. We were on a roll.
No, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
And that's what we're doing here on the evenings also. You know, we want to give you the awareness. And, you know, a person wrote this morning and stated, if they're being deceived by a spiritual leader and they fell for it and they lost a lot of money, are they at fault too? And my answer was, first of all, the spiritual leader is definitely at fault. But you cannot blame the person because they're desperate, they're hurting, they need help. Number two, they may not have had knowledge. And this is why we're doing these programs, to give you knowledge, awareness, so that when you come into these situations, you won't get caught. So today, and the reason we brought this topic is because it's alarming, the increase of situations that's happening around the world and also here in Trinidad and Tobago. So the topic today is demons and negative energy. So, Zalisa, try to forget the topics we've had in the past.
Yeah.
If you was a regular viewer watching, what would you say that a demon might be?
Well, I was about to ask you to give us a proper definition of what a demon is. But if you were to ask me, because very casually we would say, you're behaving like a demon. What is it, devil in you? You know, we say it very casually, not being aware of what we say. You know, we say it because we see something that is negative in someone, their behavior, their attitude, their choices, the things that they're doing. So we refer to them as a demon. But a demon, to me, is something that is negative, something that is dark, something perhaps I do not really truly understand. And I think of destruction. I think, you follow what I'm saying? I think of something that is simply not good, not acceptable, not something or someone that I would want to be around.
But what's remarkable is that you may not want to be around it, and the viewers may not be around it, but they're fascinated by it. And they love horror movies. They love these things because it's a side of them that they don't even know.
Perhaps that's it. Perhaps it's because they are in search of finding out more, of understanding what happens on the dark side. You follow?
Now, the reason I brought this up is because we've had alarming cases that just came in. And I'm just going to brief over one because we're not finished yet. But last week there was a 10-year-old person,
Yeah.
right? Well, I took 2 huge men. Now, when I say huge, once we're done with this case,
Yeah.
if we can, we'll put them on one of our programs and let them explain what they dealt with
You know,
actually going through this.
I'll tell you, you remember last week after the podcast, one of the guys were here.
Right.
And he said, I mean, I sat down like, what? And he actually explained to me what happened. And I said, 10 years old, a little boy this size? And he said, yeah, see?
And those 2 big men, now the one guy, he stands about 6'3", 6'5". And he's broad, very broad shouldered, lifts weights. And he was so exhausted he couldn't move. And that little boy wasn't even cracking a sweat because he's totally possessed.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's been a lot of children people that's being possessed at this time. Now, there has always been possessions from the beginning of history to now. But what we're seeing in the last 2 years, it's not normal. It's not normal. It's like God, and some call the devil, which is Lucifer. They labeled him that. Somebody's crossing the line. There is an agreement between the two. That's why people don't understand. When some people come and see us and they'll say, oh God, I committed this sin. You know, what do I do? The devil made me do it. Well, let me explain something. The devil don't make you do anything. The devil's job is to tempt you. He dangles the carrot out here like this. And what do? 90% of the people take the carrot. And then you end up in situations that you can't get out of. Now, talking about situations you can't get out of. Negativity, demonic, all stems from the lower realms of hell. Now, when a soul, a bad soul, goes to hell, there are 3 realms, and in each realm, there's 9 layers in the realm. So the worst of the worst goes to realm 1, stage 1. Now, if you could imagine the torture these souls go through. Some souls, after they do their time in their sentence, they liberate. They actually liberate and eventually go up. Then there's some souls that no matter what you do, they turned worse. Now, when they turned worse, they're out for revenge. And I did a movie, and I also stated they're on the hunt. So then some people say, but how? Unless a spiritual person summoned them through rituals to try to bring demons to do work for them, how else do they get through? Well, where they get through is in realm 3, stage 9. That is at the break between hell and what some beliefs call Hades. And they will come across through that, it's like an open section. Because remember, according to some beliefs, everybody goes to Hades, like a waiting area, stage area,
Okay.
before you're judged.
Okay.
right?
Hades.
Now they come. Now they're looking for certain individuals that they can attach to. Now, some of the individuals that they're looking for, Zali said they're actually looking for people who was like them when they were alive. So if this person that died and he was an evil soul and he went to realm 1, stage 1, let's say when he was alive, he loved prostitutes, he loved to drink, and now I'm not talking a casual beer.
You're talking about like alcoholics?
Heavy drinking. Okay, drug use. It could be gambling, anything. So now they're on the hunt. So they come to a certain area, and now they see that person.
Yeah.
Bam! They take hold of them. You know, now they are drinking, eating, experiencing everything that
they
person
did.
does through them.
Ah.
Okay? I want you to understand that having a spirit is different than having a demonic presence around you.
Can you define that for us?
A spirit, how they live, is actually from your energy. So as you sleep, there'll be a presence in the room. And then let's say you got 8 hours sleep. Well, all of a sudden, when you wake up in the morning, you should feel revived.
Yeah. You should be energized and ready to go.
But the people are drained.
Yeah.
They have no energy at all. And they can't understand why. Okay? Because that's how spirits survive. But a demon will actually go inside you. He's eating your energy. He's also participating and eating in the food that you eat because he is now becoming in control of your body, your senses, and your mind. Now, there are semi-possessions and then there are full possessions.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
So how would the family members, particularly if it's a man, how would the wife, would she not know this is not my husband?
no. Not at the beginning. I had a couple women come to me in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there and I just watched them and I said, how long has this been going on? They didn't even tell me yet.
Yeah.
And they said for years. And one said 8 months, the other one said years. And I said, let me tell you how it started. You don't have to say nothing. I said, first, it started as a dream while you're asleep.
A dream.
She was having sexual dreams.
Uh-huh.
And then she said she would wake up and be like, wow, that was pretty vivid. But then it increased. And the dream was super real. And when she woke up, she actually felt a sensation in her private areas. So then she started saying, no, something's wrong.
So she was having feelings of the actual activity?
When she woke up, that it already happened.
Okay.
She could feel the sensation.
All right.
Okay? And this is normal. This is how the demons progress within you. Now, then it started coming around and it would pin her to the bed. So in the medical terms, they call this sleep paralysis, to where you cannot move, you cannot speak. The only thing that can move in your body is your eyes. Okay?
Master Eric, if you'll allow me, I would have heard a lot of people explain that they would have experienced that one time or the other in their life.
Correct.
They know that they just can't move. It's a scary feeling that they feel as if they're being held down. And they know, but they can't speak, they can't scream, they can't ask for help,
Exactly.
and they can't move. I would have heard people said that.
What's amazing is that, I've seen this thousands of times, but for a normal layman person, when they hear this, they can't conceive that their husband, now it could happen to a man just as much as a woman, right?
Okay, all right.
Now, they can't conceive that that person could be laying right beside you in bed and don't have a clue
Of what's happening.
on what's happening.
No, I remember clearly, and I think it's because of this show and things like that, people are aware that, okay, well, Zalisa knows Master Eric. Remember once I showed you some pictures of somebody that sent me some pictures of marks all over their body, and they couldn't understand. And I'm talking about marks not just on their face and their neck and hickeys. And you remember I showed it to you, and on their legs and stuff. And this was a situation that was
But-
happening to them.
But did you notice that from the marks itself, I could identify what type of demon?
Oh, straight away. Remember I asked you?
And we're going to go into this because there's different
Types.
types
Yeah.
of demons, and what are they like, and what is it that they're really after? So, but what happens is that it took control. Then the next phase is that it can, while you're awake and you're in that sleep paralysis, it can take anybody's form while you're awake
Wow.
and make love to you.
So let me ask this question. It
So-
might sound very bizarre,
Okay.
but I'm sure somebody out there is thinking about it to ask, can you become pregnant by a spirit?
Yes.
What?
But not a physical pregnancy, a spiritual pregnancy.
I need you to explain this.
Okay. There's two ways it can happen.
What?
One, it can happen. This is why I tell people, when you go out for that one night stand, or you just want to have a fling, make him wear a condom. Because I've had over 500 cases, Elisa,
Yeah.
to where the man had it inside him. And during the sexual transaction, during that moment, it transferred from him into her through the sperm.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Okay?
Understood.
That's one.
Okay. So I
Okay.
understand. Okay.
So we had to deal with that. Then I'll go through that here in a little bit. Then the other one is you can actually get a spirit inside you when the demon is having relations with you. Okay? That's why it's so real that you have those sensations, you have that feeling, but you're not actually seeing. Okay?
Yeah.
This is what gets people, emotional trauma.
Of course. You think
Because
you're going
they're
crazy.
being raped, but think about that. It's bad enough being raped, seeing the person. But what if you're being raped and you can't see the
I
person?
think what is even worse is that that's happening to you and you're trying to say to your partner, hey, this is happening. Your partner would think you're mad, you're crazy. I need to check on you to make sure, thinking you're mental.
Then, what I always look for is when I know there was a presence around them, I knew it's getting close to having relations with them, I ask them. Now, normally I can sense it, and I'll say, and they're clothed and everything, they didn't talk about it. I'll say, when was the last time you had a little blue-black mark on your inner thigh about 3 inches from you know what? And they'll say, last week. Right? And you could get the little blue black marks on your legs. Sometimes you get them on your arms. But what I'm looking for, how close are they getting? Right? Sometimes you get scrape marks. scratches. Okay? So these are some things we look for. All right? Now, Zalisa, one person come, it was a female, and young person,
Yeah. This is scary.
and she was like, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Okay.
And when I looked at her, I said, I need to check you now. So, I always check them with them laying on their back, and I do what I have to do. And I told her, I said, you've got one inside you. And this was transferred by a sexual act. It's deep. It's deep inside you. I told her, I said, within 1 week, we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
She goes, that soon? Why? I said, because in 1 week, you're going to look 7 months pregnant.
Now, I remember when I first met you, I didn't understand anything about these things. And if you had said to me this before, I'd said, you're crazy. Don't talk to me about these things because I don't believe in it. But because of knowledge, and that's why I always say knowledge is power, conversations. And I remember once you brought a video.
Yeah.
And you remember that video? That was about 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you showed me that video where this guy's stomach had grown.
Huge.
And I was actually seeing, when you're pregnant and you see the movement of, sometimes they give a little kick or they give a little punch, and you see, we were actually seeing this in the
That
video.
was after I said the ancient prayer in
Yes.
Sumerian. And I told it, if you don't leave the body within 14 days, I'm going to rip you into 1 million pieces.
I
And
was
when
like,
I let go,
"What?"
I let the whole country see it live on air from the video, how that stomach jumped and how it turned.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to know some other characteristics of demons. You have what you call hybrids.
Yeah.
Now, a hybrid is a different type of demon. This demon's special. This demon has the characteristics of a fallen angel. Now, when a hybrid gets within your area, it can manifest into any form it wants. It could come in as a cat. It could come in as a dog. It could come in as an insect. Some people, they swear that they were washing dishes, and all of a sudden they saw their son past them, but when they took a second glance, there's nobody there. It's starting to take the form of the son. I did have one, and this is the one where I took the doctor and a scientist, and they wanted to watch how we remove a fallen angel.
Right.
And when we did it, the mother said before we started, she was explaining to them, because they were asking questions like you would if you're doing an interview.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what was different? And she said, how would you like it if you came out of your bedroom, you seen your son plain as day,
Yeah.
walk out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist, went to the fridge, opened the fridge, took the orange juice container out, drank out of it. She boofed him. She yelled at him. That's a Trini slang.
Boof.
I say boof, it's boof. He's not supposed to do that. And she said, hurry up because you're dripping wet. Go in, dry off before you catch a cold. Well, she said, I'll get the towel. She went into the son's room to get a towel. He's laying in bed asleep. So, and then the daughter would see the father,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So this thing was actually developing the actual body outlines and being the exact people.
Yeah.
So
This is serious.
this is what makes them very unique.
Yeah.
Now, during that one, I did get hurt. Okay, I got sliced open, my waist. But what I'm trying to tell you is that that's another type of demon. Okay? Now, we have a different other type. And that demon, and nobody really knows the term because you hardly ever run into these. And it's called a Hephalyphiite. Hephalyphiite. Now, what that is, it's a demon. It's astral. And it usually comes as a snake.
A snake.
So now, remember when I told you the people, the family, that actually saw, first the son was screaming downstairs. And there was a glowing snake on their car. So they ran the kid upstairs. They took the snake and they hit it with a club and it fell on the ground, still glowing.
So let me intervene here. What about there are Hindu people who believe in Lord Shiva. And if they see a snake, they may think it's a you follow what I'm saying? They may associate it with this is probably a visit from Lord Shiv. You follow what I'm saying? What do you say to those people?
Well, first of all, who you're talking about is Sheshnag.
Okay.
That is the cobra around his neck.
Correct.
And then the female form is called Nagandevi. Well, she always comes pure white.
Okay.
She's a pure white snake. Sheshnag, he comes in a light brown,
Okay.
right, with a cream belly,
Okay.
right? They're not going to come glowing.
Okay.
They're not going to be, trying to scare people.
Okay.
Okay, and very rare they come to people.
Understood.
Okay, now, when so they killed it. They thought they killed it. In the morning when they went there
Yeah.
to take it out, because they said, well, it's glowing, but we'll still carry it out. It's dead. It was back on the hood of the car, still alive. So they grabbed it, clubbed it, threw it in the bag, and carried it 3 kilometers down the road. Threw it in the ditch in the bag, right? Came back home. Well, what happened? The son started screaming, terrible, up in his bedroom. The snake turned red. And they saw the tail of the snake outside his anus. And it went up. It entered him. Now, that type of demon can enter any of your 9 orifices. Okay? Now, when you try to remove those, let me tell you something. Do you think you can cast that out by reading from the Bible or any book? Heck no. You have to go in and rip it out. Now, when you rip it out, you have to be careful because they are like an earthworm. Do you know as you're pulling, they can break in half? And that other half will grow back into the full body?
Now this is sounding like a movie we're looking
No,
at.
this is real.
Reality, and you've been through
This
this.
is
You've had
real.
the experience. Yeah.
So, that's why I'm saying that one is very hard to deal with. Now, there was a case here in Trinidad,
Okay.
and the woman had the snakes in her for 25 years.
Wow.
No one could take it out. So I took other religious leaders with me to witness. And they're from another faith,
Yeah.
but they actually wanted to witness. And still today, they will refer her to the snake lady. And do you know when we started, her feet was planted flat on the ground together. Now, how can the bone structure of a human from the ankles going up slither like this? Then it started to hiss because it took full control of her body, right? So when I say we because God's
Your
always
team.
with me. No, it's always just me
Yeah.
with God, okay? So we went in, and they're watching. And when the climax of the pool happened, those spiritual leaders took 12 steps back, shaken,
Yeah.
because they saw the woman's eyes pop out and turn into snake eyes. That's when the pool was happening. After we were done, she's fine. She's normal.
What did she say after? What was her reaction? Did she
Total
know
relief.
what happened to her? Was she aware, or did she feel as if she had a bad dream? What was her?
No, she had it for 25 years.
Yeah.
So it would be full possession, then it would relax. She would be herself,
Yeah.
then come back. So she knew it was in her.
Yeah.
But as a normal person, how would you try to get rid of it? I want you to think about it. So she was living in torment for
Took her
all
peace.
these years.
Took her peace, took her joy.
Correct. So that's another demon.
Now, let me ask. In that particular situation, did that demon just enter her, or was it sent to her by someone?
That
or
was
it-
sent. That was different. That was sent.
Yeah. How sad.
So there's been a lot of cases with snakes. Okay. Most spiritual leaders won't even touch a snake because, like I said, they'll break in half.
Yeah.
Most spiritual leaders just try to cast out. Now, when you cast out a spirit or a demon, people, where do you think it goes? Where do you think it goes? All you did was cast it out of that body. So it's down the road, outside your property, and there's a chance it's going to come back.
You know, since I was a little girl, we were always told whenever you see an empty bottle that's closed, or don't ever open it. You know, I mean, grandparents would say these things to you. Don't ever touch it. Don't, because it could be since I was a little girl, I could remember this.
So, well, let's get to that. Some spiritual leaders say they captured it and it's inside the bottle.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
And how they captured it, they say, is that they use special prayers to control and summons and put it inside. Then they actually close it.
Let's talk about Master Eric. What does Master Eric do?
What we do,
I'm not laughing out of. I'm
and
just
I have to give God the credit and my guru. My guru knew some of it, but he never actually did it. He had the knowledge, but he
Yeah.
never really did it. And he'd be honest with people, you know? So he told me. And what we do, we actually open a porthole, a gateway. And when the demons are pulled in and we trap them in that area, once we light it, the gateway's open. Now you're going to see those demons leave in a huge tornado.
So
going
when
in the air.
So when we look at the movies, I'm just saying,
Right.
because I've never experienced or seen.
I'm not going to
something
say
like
how I do it.
Yeah, I
This is the
understand.
concept.
So it you actually see.
Right. And
a
then
will.
once it's up and gone,
Yeah,
you close the gateway.
yeah,
So now it's out of the earthly realm.
yeah.
It's not cast down the street.
Right.
It can never return.
Re-enter into someone else or the same. Okay.
Or it cannot re-enter back
Yeah.
to earth.
Now, what can we do to help ourselves? Like, that we would have heard women having, relations or coming in and harassing, things like that. Are there any preventative measures that we could now take that you could give us a little advice to be careful or don't allow such situations to happen?
Well, I think that's going to be part 2 next week. Because we haven't even covered the demons yet.
You see?
Have you understood that? Now, let's go to the granddaddy of all demons. I have a personal name for it. People have other names for it.
What's your name?
I call it an org.
Okay.
Now, in the Christian faith, they call it a legion. Okay? Now, a legion is 100 demons in one.
Okay, in the Muslim faith, is it called a jinn? Because I've heard it
A
termed
jinn, but there's
What is a
different
jinn?
type of jinns.
Ah, we need to talk about that because I'd like to find out. I've heard about a jinn.
Right. So what we could do, probably in part 2, we'll start going into that because it's the same.
Ah,
It's just a jinn.
right.
Now, in the Muslim faith,
Yeah.
they believe that jinns are created from the fires of hell.
Oh,
I mean, they got power.
yeah.
Okay. So we're going to get into that. All right.
Okay.
And the same as like the archangels,
Right.
the Muslims have them. We'll go over them names too.
Yeah, I've been.
They're similar. They're very
Yeah,
similar.
yeah.
Okay. But in order, let me explain that. If a person is possessed by an orc, and that's what we dealt with the big guys.
Okay, with the kid plus. Yeah.
That 10-year-old
Yeah.
can never do what he did
Yeah.
as a
This-
10-year-old.
Yeah.
And he's got so much power inside him, he didn't even crack a sweat. Okay? He was just playing. But we got a surprise for him coming up. Right? Now,
Be prepared.
they have no remorse. They have no respect.
They don't care what they do.
They have no respect for any human, anybody,
Yeah.
or their soul. They are out to maim, kill. They could wipe out a whole family.
Total destruction.
Total destruction. Now, when we go take one out, I've took religious leaders with me. They actually stood outside on the road, and they're not trained, they felt that energy.
Wow.
And they said, if you wasn't here, Master, we are definitely not going on that property. You can feel it. It's just overwhelming,
Yeah.
right? None of my crew can go in. None of them can go in that house.
And you've got a powerful team, huh?
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
cannot. They're told not to. Not by me.
Okay.
Okay.
Understood.
Now, when you clash with this, you better have God on your side, and you better know what you're doing, and you better not have an ego. Because once you have an ego with one of these, you're done. I'm telling you that now. Because if you have an ego, that means your faith in God isn't that much. Okay, you think that you're God yourself. Let me give you an example. There was one in central Trinidad. The woman and husband. The woman was fully possessed. And she was Hindu, and the husband was Catholic.
Okay.
Now, before I even got in the picture, a priest went in,
Okay.
Catholic priest, and actually went in to do the exorcism.
Okay.
Within 1 hour, they had him rushed to ICU in the hospital.
The priest?
Yeah, almost killed him. Right? Then the pundit came. Now, the pundit was a little more observant. And when he went into the room, he knew it was out of his league. He backed off because he heard what happened to the other one.
I remember a couple years ago, I had a conversation with a pundit. We were talking about something similar, about a lady who had gone for help. And I remember that pundit saying, what that woman was dealing with
Yeah.
was so terrible that if he went in to even try to help, he would hurt himself. This was years and years ago.
So what happened was, they called me, the pundit called me. And they said, would you come and check? I said, sure. So a day after, I drove out there. And I met another priest. And we met, we shook hands and everything. And he goes, I'm glad you're here, but he says, I'm going to go ahead and take care of it. Well, from the roads, Elisa, I
Yeah.
already knew what was in that house.
Yeah, you felt it.
And I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. So he goes in, we're outside the room, he's not feeling it. He's not feeling it like a top spiritual person that's used to feeling demons. So I asked him again, are you sure you know what you're doing? He goes, yeah. And he got everything ready, the cloth, the crucifix, the holy water, everything. And as he walked into the room, that growl, Zelisa, will put chills through your spine. And the room shook from the growl.
Hey, the dark world
So
is something,
that got him off balance
Yeah.
from the
obviously.
shaking and everything going on.
Yeah.
Right? When he started, and he was going through the ritual, and then when he got to the point where he said, I cast you out to the realms of hell by the blood of Jesus Christ, XYZ. And he started throwing the holy water on it. You don't do that to an org.
That's when you don't know what you're dealing with.
All he did was make it upset. And the org snatched the bottle from him, drank the holy water, and spit it back in his face.
Wow.
He came back out the door.
Yeah. Well, who would want to stay there, Master Eric?
So then he goes, are you going in? And I said, yeah, but I'm not going to take him out. There's a law. There's a spiritual law you have to go by, and you broke it. You cannot go in and check and try to pull it out one time. If you pulled it out and killed it, you committed a sin. Because you know a demon has a soul too? That's murder.
Well, I'm a little confused.
No, you're not.
I am.
Demons, humans, angels, everyone has a soul. So when you go in, one, you have to give it that time period. You have to specify to it the time period it has to leave on its own.
Okay.
If it cannot leave, which it normally can't because it's too deep into the body, you still got to give him that choice. I'm not going to mention the time frame.
No,
because people will start to mimic.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, that's why I'm very careful, because there's going to be a lot of spiritual people say, okay, I can do this now. Okay,
No,
you can't.
I need to understand this. So that's noble of you. You are saying, regardless if it's good, bad, evil, whatever it is,
It's a soul.
It's a soul, and you need to ask it to leave before
No, you tell it.
Okay. Oh.
You are given, you have this time or else. Now-
There's an ultimatum.
Correct. And the ultimatum, as you heard me on that video that you aired on national TV,
Yes, I did.
I told it in ancient Sumerian. You cannot talk to it in English. English is like a baby language. English is only half of a language. Did you know that? It only has 26 letters through the alphabet. Ancient Sumerian Sanskrit has 52 letters.
Okay.
So now you got to speak that language. Now, I told it, you've got this amount of days, or I'm going to come back and rip you into a million pieces. Right?
So you're very authoritative.
You have to be.
Okay.
You don't walk up and say, Mr. Demon, would you please leave? You don't do that. Okay? Now, when we came back after that time frame,
What is it? Okay.
I can't say the time frame.
Understood. Yeah.
Now, the pundit and the priest came,
With you.
and they wanted to watch. So I got everything set up, got her where she needed to be, but before we started, she came back as her normal self. And she come up and she said, Master Eric, you're like a brother to me. And she
So
started,
they play games.
right. And she started crying. And she goes, you're like a brother to me. They told me to tell you something, that you will die tonight.
Like that.
Well, I just looked at him and I said, I just started laughing. I said, well, you go back and tell him my ex-wife is worse than them. Right? You cannot let fear come in you.
You have to take control. Yeah.
Now, when we got it set up, now it wasn't her no more. It's full-blown it. So the priest asked me, what do you want me to do? I said, do the rosary. Do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
All the prayers that we could have will
Yeah,
help.
okay.
The pundit asked me, what do you want me to do? I said, light your hound, keep the fire going. We need it.
Okay, so you had a how?
So I told him, I said, now don't interfere when I start. Well, let me tell you something. When I started, my foot went inside. One foot went inside, one foot was outside. The priest asked me a question. I had made the mistake by turning my head to address the priest. The lady was just a hair bigger than you. I'm a big guy. A hand went and actually picked me off the ground, threw me 15 feet midway to the wall.
The lady.
The lady. But it was
Well,
it,
the demon, yeah.
the org. I was kind of stunned, but when I got up, I looked over, priest pundit busted. They ran out the house. Okay, they're looking through the kitchen window.
I would too. I mean, I could understand.
But Zelisa, then I got my bearings, and
You went back?
It took 7 hours by myself to take it out, but I wasn't by myself. God gave me the tools that I needed every step of the way to do what I had to do, and it was nothing from the normal tradition.
Master Eric, 7 hours.
7 hours, okay, and it was finished. And she's fine, right? But when I walked out, when I was done, I mean, I was exhausted.
Of course.
And I kind of stumbled out the door and I said, see you and see you. I said, I don't want to see you ever preaching in a church again. And you pundit, you should take your veneer off. You shouldn't. Where's your faith? How can you preach to people when you ran?
Well, Master Eric,
No.
perhaps they don't know what to do, or they
Then
don't.
why did they go in the first place?
Well, they want to see.
No, they want to try to get fame. You can't do things for fame, Zelisa.
Okay.
You have to do it for the good of the person. Okay?
Yes, to help that woman.
Now, there was another case in Arima. And the whole area of Arima, I'm not going to mention where there was an org. Right? And when we pulled it out, now you had a witness that came on your show last month that said when the org raised on the person, their hair flung out, blood came out of their mouth, and fangs appeared. Remember when she said that?
Yeah.
On your show?
Yeah.
Right? And it lunged for my jugular. It was going to try to kill me. Right? They are powerful. This is a demon you don't want to mess with.
Master Eric, this is a message that just came in. I'm watching you live with Master Eric about demons. This is somebody from abroad, I think it's Canada. I need his help with that topic. He helped my auntie when she came to Trinidad. So to this person who is viewing and send this message to me.
Okay.
Of course, you could get Master Eric. Please take this number, send a message or call 354-4459. And there are 2 office locations in Trinidad. One, Chinchin Road in Cunupé, and the other opposite Palmis Park in San Fernando. But when you call or leave a message at 354-4459, someone will assist, someone will guide you, and of course answer all of those questions with regards to how you could get help. All right, but we're happy to know
Now,
that at least you reached out and you could get some help.
And since you're writing, I guess, from Canada, you would put a 1-868
yeah.
in front of that. I don't remember, but if I helped your aunt, I hope she's still great and everything's good. But what I'm trying to say, because we've done people all over the world, Celisa.
Yeah.
Now,
I know people bought tickets for you to go and help them.
so now you have what you call spiritual bucks. And there was a famous case here in Trinidad about 3.5, 4 years ago. But a buck isn't quite what people understand.
Yeah, that was a story. That was a big story in Trinidad.
Big story. There was like
remember that.
70 spiritual leaders that try to do it. I'm not trying to praise myself, people.
That made news,
What
you
I'm
know.
trying to do is to get you understand the different levels.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you now, we can't cover them all tonight. There's over 1,000 different levels. Now, one thing I want you to understand, when you feel a presence in your house, or you may see a shadow, and you know you're being interfered with, I want you to understand, Zalisa, this may sound bad to you, it may sound bad to the viewers. I have more respect for a demon than I do a human.
No, if
Here's
that's your
no.
we have to understand that's
No.
your feeling.
No, I'm going to explain. A demon, when they mark you means you're the one he wants. Now, he's going to make sure, so now your love life's going to go down, your relationships are going to get terminated, because he don't want nobody around you. He's very possessive.
Huh.
Now, the reason I respect him is because if there's other females in the house, he won't touch them. Once he marks you, he's faithful to you. But a human person, he'll be married or she, and horn.
Horn
Look
is
at the
having
difference.
An affair, extramarital
Yeah.
affairs, yeah. For
So-
those abroad.
So look at the difference. They have more respect.
They're committed.
They're committed than a human in most cases. So when I go and check places and there's multiple females being interfered with, that means that's how many are in that home.
What about what happens when all of a sudden, because I've heard people say all of a sudden they feel like a chill all of a sudden.
Right.
What is that?
That is when their presence, their energy is starting to touch your aura. And it just raises you up.
So could that be loved ones who died just come to pay a visit, or I'm just asking?
No, that's another topic that we can, and I think we need to elaborate on that too. What is the difference
Yeah, because it could
between
be
souls
Yeah,
and demonic?
right.
How you sense them? What do you
Yes.
look for?
Master, that's important because we
Yeah.
all would have experienced losing someone that we love who died, and we're looking for answers. Like I find myself now doing a lot of research and looking at documentaries based on afterlife, because you're looking for answers, just like the thousands of people that watch this show. It's because they're looking for answers, they're looking for content to understand things. So obviously we would know that maybe our loved ones might come to pay us a visit or check on us, and we want to know, is this good, is it bad, should we,
Well, here's another scenario, and let's evolve both together same time. Sometimes when there's a death in the family, but the family knew before the death happened that there's some type of presence in the house, because they see shadows, and they're getting the marks, they're getting the scrapes. All of this is happening, but then somebody dies within the house,
Right.
maybe from illness. Now, demons will magnify the illness like you're looking through a magnifying glass.
Oh,
So they can accelerate to the death of the person. Okay?
so when we hear there is a time for you to die, you can die before your time is written?
Correct.
Okay, understood.
Now, if that person died in the house with the demonic presence, there's a real good chance that soul can never leave. That demon will capture that soul and make him work for him without any human intervention. And this is what we're going to have to get into in part 2.
Because I'm sure people will want their family members or those souls to go on to rest.
Exactly. Now,
So those souls could do bad things?
who?
The demons that took the soul
Yeah.
that died before and captured the soul to work for them.
Yes. The reason is If the soul doesn't do what the demon tells him to do, he's tortured. Just like if you were tortured here in a war. Let me tell you something. People out here, they don't know what war people go through. I've been through it. And that torture is beyond your recollection, right? The same way as a demon will torture a soul.
Okay.
Okay? So, oh boy, it's already been an hour. But people, we will continue next week, and we're going to go over what are all the signs
You may need to.
that you'll need to know.
And little things we could do to help ourselves.
Correct.
Little
What are the
ideas.
quick remedies that you could try to at least pease it down a little bit until you contact us or whoever you want to go to for help? We're going to go over that. And also, what are the different stages of the astral to the frequency of a demon? We're going to go over that because now we're getting in depth. Take metaphysics and throw it out the window because this is going to override it. But I hope tonight actually gave you a little bit of information, and I hope it's going to keen your interest to actually find out what are some of the remedies or some of the solutions that could help you if you're experiencing some of these. Now, if you're at the point now to where you are being raped at night and nobody is believing you or nobody is taking you on, you need to write. You need to WhatsApp us at 1-868-354-4459. I don't care where you live in the world, you are getting to the breaking point and you don't want to be there.
Get
Okay.
help. Get help.
So anyhow, Zalisa, it's been great.
As always, and I just want to let each and every one of you know that with God, whomever you choose to be God for you, with God, all things are possible. Yeah?
So everybody, you have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
The Untold Truth, every Friday at 6 p.m. The journey has just begun with Master Eric. Zalisa. A new kind of podcast getting to the root of hidden knowledge. You can join us on Facebook, Conversation with the Zalisa, and YouTube, Master Eric. Your journey has just begun.